Hi, my name is Susan, and this is Turning Point Nurse. This episode today is something that's very important to me and near and dear to my heart. And I want to get this information out there to anybody that, well, to nurses mostly. I used to be, and I'm going back to, the American Red Cross as a volunteer. The American Red Cross is in severe need of nurses. And so I want to invite LVNs, RNs, and students who are willing to deploy to disaster zones to help out with shelters there. And if you're licensed, you can get more involved than that even. So back about 7 years ago, I deployed to North Carolina during the hurricane disaster there. I had just had recovering from major back surgery, but I was determined to go and start things back up again. As it turns out, I was the only licensed nurse that deployed. You have to go through training. You can't just go and deploy. You have to go through specialized training, whether you're a nurse or not, to work either in a shelter or any other area of the Red Cross. It's very in-depth and very detailed, but it's worth it. So, now I'm a licensed vocational nurse. I've been a nurse for 18 years, and I'm still have my license, I'm still going strong. I'm a writer now. I'm a content writer now. But I will be returning to volunteering for the Red Cross as a nurse, so that if I need to deploy again, if they have something come up again, that I will be able to deploy again. And my story coming up is why I want to do that, and why I encourage you, if you are a nurse or if you're a student nurse. I don't care which one you are. If you don't have a license yet, that's okay. They'll still use you. So arriving at the headquarters in North Carolina, I was one of the first ones to arrive, but right after me, about a dozen or maybe more, brand new, well, they were student nurses that had just graduated from nursing school, RNs, but they hadn't taken their NCLEX yet, so they didn't have a license yet. Only one had just got her license the week before she deployed. So she was teamed up with me, and I became the lead nurse. Even though I'm an LVN, I became the lead nurse for the time I was there, because I was the only one with experience. We went around to the different shelters as much as we could find. There was so much damage and so much flooding, it was hard to get around. Of course, the Red Cross gave us a car, but we made it to most of the shelters. We got to one in particular, and we checked in with them. They were getting ready to close it because they had found places for the survivors to go to. Now, keep in mind, she had just got her license the week before. And so we had a couple that came in, two women that came in. The one said she had just been discharged from the hospital. And I was shocked at that because she looked awful. She was as pale as she could be. And I asked her, was she sure that they discharged her? And she said they did. So I guess they were trying to send people home before the storm hit. I couldn't tell what else it could have been. So I was going over her medications. She had 10 of them. I knew what they were all for, what they were for, and I knew what they were. So we went over that, and she was there to get water and some food items that we had in stock. But once we got through the assessment, and I was hesitant to let her go because she looked so bad. She had no business being out of the hospital. That's just all there was to it. As she was leaving, the RN looked at me. Now this new RN looks at me and says, "Man, I gotta know my medications." And I'm thinking, what do you mean? You're an RN? She said, I may be an RN, but I don't know medications. And I was frankly shocked at that. I thought that RNs got more pharmacology than what she apparently got. And then when I got to the next day, they sent her to a shelter to help out. And then I went to my own shelter for the rest of my time there. It's a good thing I did. It was a good thing I did. I was working with a retired RN from ICU. She had been an ICU RN for like 42 years. The first thing I wanted to know when I arrived there was who were my diabetics. I just found the one, but he wouldn't let me check his sugars. He said he was okay, he was fine. And then it came time to close the shelter. And he had never let me check his sugars, which bothered me a lot. And my RN nurse hadn't tried. I don't think she even knew he was a diabetic. So we were getting ready to close the shelter, but he came in complaining of a severe headache and not feeling well. These people were getting ready to go to hotels and other places. They had found places for them to go, so that's why they were closing the shelter. And he came over and he said he had a severe headache. He didn't look good. He looked gray. His skin color was gray, and I was very concerned about that. But she was up there with him at the front, and I was way in the back, but I still saw how he looked. So she gave him Tylenol, told him to go lay down, and that's what he would do if he was home anyway. But before he went to go lay down on his cot, I asked him to let me take his sugars. It's a good thing I did, because he was very low, very low. We had to start finding food and other things that we could, sugar, things like that, to get his sugars back up, because everything was pretty much packed up. We managed about an hour later to get his sugars back up. We retook it, it was fine. He was over 100 now. His color came back, he was no more headache, he was feeling pretty good. He went outside and said how we had saved his life. And I looked at the RN, and she said the most profound thing to me, which I've never forgotten. She told me that she never even thought about taking his sugars, checking those sugars. And I told her that was the first thing I thought of, is taking his sugars. She told me that we had missed a major, major medical emergency. If he had laid down, he probably would have gone to a coma. This is a difference that nurses can make at disasters. Now, she was a little shaken up because she didn't catch it. And she was thinking that because she was a retired RN for 42 years, and mostly in ICU, she was shocked that she didn't catch it, that she didn't know to check his sugars. But of all the RNs that we had there that weren't RNs yet, they weren't licensed yet, even still, they made a huge difference. So we need nurses, licensed or not, to deploy, to come help us out. And when you do have your license, that's even better. Because see, nurses there and in disaster zones, no matter what compact license you have. We're in Texas, I'm in Texas, but the law says that if you're in a disaster zone, it doesn't matter what state you're from, your license is good in that disaster. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, if you're compact or not. I just happen to be compact. That was one of the most wonderful blessings of a deployment I ever could have asked for. It wasn't just that, it was just knowing that we were able to do so much for those survivors. A lot of them needed their DMEs, they needed the CPAP machines, they needed other equipment that they lost in the disaster, in the flood, that we had to replace. And we were the only ones who could do that. Nobody else in Red Cross could do that. If nurses hadn't been there, licensed ones, we would have been out of luck. Because we were the ones that had to call the doctor's offices and say, hey, they're out of medication. We were the only ones, the licensed ones, who could be of any benefit. But the unlicensed ones were still important because they could help us cover the shelters as well. You know, they could still do assessments. They couldn't pass meds. They couldn't give any meds, but they still had things that they could do as a volunteer. So my request to you, those of you that might watch this, whether you're a licensed nurse or not, if you've never given any thought to volunteering with the American Red Cross, do so. Do us a favor and do so. You don't have to deploy for 2 weeks. I deployed for 2 weeks. I would have deployed longer, but I had some other stuff that came up that I needed to get back. But then when I got back, I did the social work. I did the other end. I helped them. I made phone calls and helped them get their homes rebuilt. So that was the other part that I did that I thoroughly enjoyed. I was on the phones all day. It was like a job for me because I wasn't working at the time anyway. But if you've never considered doing this, I hope that you will. I hope that you will get involved, especially if you're licensed, because we can really use that. I plan to get back into it again because what I experienced was one of the best things I've ever experienced. It was just awesome. And being able to help so many people, being able to save his life, and knowing this other lady was not in good shape, but you know, we couldn't do anything about that. I would like to have called the hospital and said, hey, did you discharge this person? Because I don't think they discharged her. I think she walked out. That's how bad she looked. But the RN that was with me kind of went with what I was saying. She didn't really know what to say about it because she didn't know the medications that she was on, and she was embarrassed about that, quite embarrassed about that. And the RN that didn't think to do the finger stick was very embarrassed about that because she missed it. And she knew that if I hadn't caught it, he probably would not have made it. You can make a difference. We made a difference. So if you haven't thought about joining the Red Cross, if you want to know more on that, get with me. Go to my Buzzsprout website. Contact me. Let me know you're interested. And I can get you with the right people. And if you're not nurses, the same thing holds. We need the help. Working shelters is a wonderful feeling. Believe it or not, it goes really well most of the time. And they do allow the pets to be nearby. That was one of the things that I found that really I was so happy to see, is that the pets are sheltered nearby them so they can go see their pets and feed their pets. That had not been done before. So if you haven't thought about it, think about it and get with me, if you will, on Buzzsprout. And let me know whether you're interested or not. Because I plan to get back enrolled. I plan to get going again. That's how much I enjoyed it. And I can do it now because I have my own business now. So think about it and let me know if you want to get involved. And in the meantime, I will see you on the next one. Be sure to subscribe because I've got more good stuff coming that you won't want to miss. Bye for now.